Brock Lesnar's back.
Okay.
Uh,
Um.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say to say conflicted is an understatement, considering the 2 weeks that WWE has had. One with Triple H. I don't think we talked about the Triple H, signing or being there for an executive order, basically political theater, because essentially all of it was reenacting some fucking physical fitness test that's been gone for fucking decades. None of it really matters. Essentially, that whole press conference was a takeaway from the fact that his numbers are tanking, the job market is awful, and he's a big idiot. Essentially,
Can I say one thing that I'd shared my Hogan thing on my stories, and then one of my other friends commented because he saw the Triple H and Trump thing, and I was like, it's crazy because you just talked about how like certain things can affect people's just like legacies and stuff like that, and I don't think it's gone this far for age, but I think his proximity close to this regime of presidency will ultimately continue to hurt him if he continues to do that. And I think if this president that we have continues to hurt this nation with all the decisions that he's making, ultimately wrestling fans will see like, yo, you you're associating with that. You were da 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 da. And so I would always WWE has always done a good job at kind of like remaining apolitical. They'll tell you go out and vote. You know what I'm saying? But they'll never stand behind a president and say like, yo, um
we're but to that point, right? To that
okay.
point, right? And I'll bring it back around to Brock Lesnar in a second here.
Okay.
I'm gonna get on my soapbox real quick. So WWE and pro wrestling is a form of escapism for a lot of people, right?
Yes, yes.
It's our reality show, but like the world, our reality has had to make way for this new normal that we're in, and that people are constantly fighting back against. And I
Hmm.
think that in a lot of ways, wrestling always reflects where we are in the world. So from the Attitude Era, where we were at, how wild that was in America at the time, the
Hmm.
strict conservativeness and the isolationism of like the Bush era, and now we're here where we're just as divided in ideology as we're divided by race and everything else. Everything is deeply fucked right now. Everything is so sensitive, and for me
Hmm.
and a lot of people, wrestling is our circus, but the world is a circus right now. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I think when I see, like you just said, like when I see people say like WWE leans this way or that way, and ultimately this is a company that doesn't stand for anything. Amazon doesn't stand for anything. Apple stands for nothing. They're right there at the
Hmm.
inauguration, and people, gave them rightful smoke for that. These are companies that stand for nothing. And I think
Hmm.
that it becomes more apparent as we grow up, but more apparent in the decisions that they make. And they can pepper it with as much altruism so people who work there can ultimately shrug and be like, well, at least they fucking support this, or, they support women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that is the case. So you can say that WWE's right wing, they'll always be able to counter with, oh, we have lots of people of color. We let Sammy wear Palestine tights. That's not us. You know what I'm saying? We're not right wing. You can say it
Right.
isn't progressive, and they'll point to the women. They'll point to the integration with Mexico. They'll point to all those things just to say like, oh no, we love everybody, right? But
Right.
it's
Right.
not a company that's trying to sell an agenda, so much so that it's a company that's fallen victim to too much. And when I say like too much, they're like, you want Joshi? We got it. You want work rate? We got it. Blood?
Hmm.
We got it. Your problematic fave coming back. Yeah, that's cool too. And it's because the audience's attention span is so short, people will largely move on from that boogeyman in the room and move on to the next thing. So they'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, let's get another viral moment. Because if we can make everyone pissed, mad, happy, elated, reacting, we got them. It's like
Hmm.
the bad attitude era. It's the bad attitude era where we're at right now. So like, I really implore people, as we talk about this next subject, I implore people to find the joy in aspects of this shit, but please do not get attached, because however the pendulum swings, wrestling will go with that. And I think people should not be shocked by that. So like with Brock, we know this, Meelz. That was
Hmm.
a win, not enough. It was a win, not enough. And they should make a statement. And they awkwardly
They made
tried to
one
on
on
Raw.
Raw.
They awkwardly tried to on Raw, but ultimately they won't if they don't feel like they have to, in terms of like digging in deeper into what the fuck that is, right? They
Low
they
key, I felt
ultimately
like the Loki, I feel like the Raw statement was a retractment on what H said during the press conference,
It probably was.
which was essentially that John Cena wanted this, so we tried our best to make it happen.
But the thing is, like, because his return was such a runaway success, over 8 million right now and counting in just views, they have a polarizing conversation piece that people will continue to drive up search hits for, and fans will tune into, and think pieces will be made, and people will essentially make money off of, which feels kind of scummy in itself. So
It does. It really
I I
does.
I think that, as we talk about this, he wouldn't be back if
He
there
wouldn't be
wasn't
back if he was
vetting.
anybody else.
He won't be back if he's anybody else, but he also wouldn't be back if there wasn't any proper vetting as to what was going on in that case.
Yeah.
So if they felt like, oh, he's in the clear, legal said he's in the clear. Janelle Grant's lawyer certainly doesn't think he's in the clear, but
Mhm.
that's yet to be seen at this point. And it's honestly, by the time it goes into trial, he could realistically, Meelz, be off TV at that point, like,
Right.
because he's not going to be around that much anyway. So what
I
we have right
definitely
now, oh, I'm sorry,
no, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your point. Finish your point.
what we have right now is a situation where we, not only as people who, as I said before, react to this, we talk about this. This is a hobby for us. It's something that we support, and fans want us to talk about this. They want to see our views on it. We didn't talk about the Saudi shows for a while, and then we eventually did. We
Yeah.
didn't. We at length talked about why we wouldn't do it. And as those things opened up, we kind of relented and we started talking about it again. Right now, we have with Brock Lesnar. He is automatically in the biggest storyline of the fall and winter for this company. It's gonna be talked about. The people people wanted him back. You know what I mean? And like they wanted him back. There are people that are uncomfortable with him being back. That want to write the company off. That's completely fine with them. I'm not here to begrudge anybody for doing that. I think that what we should take into context and everything is that it's not them just saying like, oh, like, we're gonna put somebody on here that's like, oh, we're just trying to fuck around. Like, they're essentially, like I said before, they stand for nothing. So they're trying to get the biggest viral moment, and they did that. You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't have done
Yeah.
that if they wouldn't have done that if they weren't going to be able to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's still, I completely understand and largely still accept all the things that are kind of like going on, but it still just felt, I kind of was I after that I was kind of glad I didn't go on Sunday because I'm pretty sure I would have had a long train ride home kind of like rethinking about how I felt about this entire thing, cuz it's just in no other industry, in no other person
NBA,
with this
NBA, Miles
eh,
Bridges,
right. Oh, well, yeah, you're right.
Miles
Um
Bridges. NFL does it too. Not saying
for
it's
this
right,
public,
but there's
no,
precedent.
not
It's,
saying
it's
it right, but
precedent.
there's definitely precedent, but it's like it's just a tough thing to, I guess more so in terms of like, I guess where my own personal values align, right? It's hard to like reconcile with the fact that like, you know, this happened. Like in no other industry are you sending or trying to coerce one of your one of your employees with sexual favors from this person and going back and forth with your boss. Like in any other situation, I mean, one boss was essentially fired, but you never know what's going to happen. Um, and then this guy was essentially like put on ice. And then it was like, well, maybe it's cooled down a bit. Let's bring him back. Um,
I don't think
it
it's like it's cooled down, because it's not cooled down. I think that,
it's
like,
not. I mean,
this is
but
what I think. This is what I think. Essentially, in the documents,
why would he? Well,
in the
why do you
documents,
think?
they
Why do you
never
think
met,
he'd come back?
and she didn't. Like they said in the documents that they never met, and she didn't at the time say that she felt that he did anything illegal. So they're probably looking at that and saying, "Oh, okay, well, if that's the case, legal is that cool? Read through the documents as much as possible. Is there any chance that he will be called to subpoena? He still could be. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, let's just be clear. Like, this is not over. He still could be called to subpoena, but as of right now, he has not been called to subpoena or be called to testify in any way, shape, or form in this case. So legal probably looked at that and said, "Oh, okay, well he'll be fine." Like Johnny Ace, it's always been on Johnny Ace and Vince. That's where it's been at, and that's probably why they looked at it like, "Oh, let's get legal to look into that and see if right now, a year and a half, 2 years after, this would be okay to do."
I mean, with this precedence, if it comes down to a settlement or Vince McMahon is thing free, likely he will be back too. I
I
mean, just
I I will need I can neither I can neither like guess or you know
I'm just saying from like I guess
it
it's
could happen.
it could happen is what I'm saying, and we'll all have to kind of like reckon with that because TKO, I mean, doesn't really care. Dana White is still whatever he does at UFC.
I mean Triple H was doing his best Dana White impression this weekend. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? He was doing his best Dana White
realistically,
impression this weekend. Like
avoiding the press.
I think that again, you have to look at TKO as another company. Again, this ain't a left thing. It's not a right thing. This is a profit thing for them. Like it's they just care about making money, and they
Right.
care about nothing above the dollar. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And if something's hurting that bottom line, they are not going to do it. If something is helping that bottom line, they're going to do it. And I think what it makes it even more easy for them to kind of reckon with this is that like Brock didn't come back as a hero. He's likely not going to be a hero here. So the
Mhm.
boos can be like, oh, they're not booing him because of that. They're booing him because he beat up John Cena, who just turned face. I had to question because I think the story we were looking at with the Cena thing was like, oh, is he just turning because he's gonna lie? And it's like, oh no, he's turning because like they finally found the angle for him to go out on because that's what I think is going to be the end game here for him is him versus
Really?
Brock. I
I
do.
felt like they turned him. I mean, I could see the Brock thing being end up leading to the turn for this reason. But I guess before that, I felt like let's dub this story really, really quickly
I think
because
it was
there's
all of those
nothing
things.
coming from it. Yeah. How did you feel about the face turn when it happened in real time?
Um, I was like this.
Everyone was skeptical, in my opinion. Like
I was
everyone was
skeptical. Yeah.
skeptical. I wasn't skeptical. I thought it was real deal. All right, he's back. Like I was ready to be the fool. Um,
What happened was I had to go back after the match on Sunday and listen to what he was saying on Friday because I didn't take any of it serious. Like I took literally none of it serious. I was like, well, what did he say on Friday that even led to this? And it was, essentially like, you woke me up. You know what I mean? And it's
right.
like, damn, I thought it would have been bigger than that. I thought they were doing it, but it was like, you know what? You know what? I didn't need the big. We've been saying it for weeks. Just turn him back face.
Yeah. And to
And
be
you know
honest
what?
with
That's
you,
fine.
align him with Cody. Stop putting him against Cody and leaving Cody in certain situations where he's
Yeah.
getting mixed reactions or booed or feels less than or whatever it is. Like align him with Cody. Um, but kind of like I know we don't want to kind of like mix the two things, but kind of like going back to the Brock thing, I don't know how I feel about it right now, to be honest with you. I kind of accept these things are going to continue to happen and you kind of got to move with it, but I'd be lying to say it kind of aligns with my own moral compass on kind of like how things should go. I don't think you know, it's right or um acceptable in any workplace and it really jeopardizes how
what would absolve a Brock Lesnar right now? Because a lot of people are like they're acting like he like
there
was
would
like next
nothing
to
would
Vince. Like,
absolve for me, but I don't think he should
yeah,
be there. Like if you're willing to
I think that
engage, if
there's
you're willing to
people
if
I think
you
that there's people who have talked themselves into saying, well, he didn't do what Vince did,
right,
and
but if you're willing to
I think
engage
that's what they're aligned with.
if you're willing to engage in freak man shit with your own boss and you know look at people in certain fashions, it's like that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Especially with employees of the company. Like, and the thing is that Brock has enough swing and influence to be able to do whatever he wants, and Vince had enough swing and influence to be able to do what he wants. So where do you kind of stand in the middle of this? If in situations like things continue to happen in the future, like you have to kind of now my thing was like it wouldn't absolve Brock, but I just don't think he should be back. And I think, to be honest with you, for a large number of years, we've moved on from the idea of Brock. I think I looking kind of like forward with how he's gonna be booked, I have no
The
idea how he's
Cody
gonna be booked.
the Cody thing was like the perfect way to write him off. I thought him
Yeah,
like Cody getting the cosign from I think he's gotten the cosign from like everybody but Rock at this point. Like
right.
Cody getting that cosign, I felt like after that match was like the perfect ending. Because the thing
But
is, like, didn't that happen? And then right after he got named in the case, it was just like, oh shit. Well,
no,
guess he.
he was taking a break and expected to be back from the Royal Rumble to feud with Gunther, but
Oh
because
yeah,
the case came right before the Royal Rumble, he was pulled from the Royal Rumble. So then I
and the
think they
game.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So they had to do a lot of things for that. So he was supposed to come back and he just never did.
I think they're
So
just gonna do that.
I mean, yeah, I mean they would have to,
Yeah,
but
I think they're just gonna do that.
but I'm not sure where kind of like the booking of Brock Lesnar under Triple H. It hasn't happened often. Um, I don't know if I personally, if I were Brock, I mean, I love H, but being Brock, if I were Brock Lesnar, I, I don't know if I really trust him booking me because he doesn't really lean on people from the past. He kind of like
Oh, he's gonna be
really,
losing a lot.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
He's
Like
gonna be losing a lot. But I think that,
the,
like
his only booking thing really with H was the Cody program, which was designed for him to lose.
was yeah, designed for him to, ultimately not come out on top. I mean,
Yeah.
what I mean,
And
yeah.
you can argue even with Gunther, it probably was the same thing. I mean,
I
Gunther
mean
probably
it
would have beat him once, but
I mean,
you know,
ultimately, are we mad if he gets chopped like crazy and loses clean to
I'm
Gunther?
not
I
mad
won't be mad.
if he loses, but he's gonna be probably but it is at this point. He's also like 50 years old, so whatever.
Yeah. I
Um
don't see this I don't see this being like a long-term thing. Um, I only see honestly only see 2 real feuds for him, and that's Cena, and he'll probably show where Cena shows. And then after that, it'll be Gunther, and then you get that out the way, and then he should just leave. I think that'll carry you perfectly for a full 365 days, of which he will
until
only probably be
Minnesota.
around. Yeah, until he will literally only be around for maybe 20 dates of those, and there's 20 dates too much. But I'm just saying what I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's 2
No.
storylines for him, and that's Cena and Gunther, maybe the Rumble, and SummerSlam. He's out.